Reclaimed is the podcast about the woman's journey of reclaiming her power through somatic work, breath work, plant medicine, and conversations. I am Kyla Gagnon, and this is Reclaimed. Hello, sweet friends. Welcome back to the conversation. I am joined today with the vibrant and wonderful Emma Gibbsng. She is a mindset detox coach. She's the founder of the Unapologetic Rebel Movement, which is a movement helping women break the rules, tap into their unique brilliance, and build a life and business on their terms, which to me is like the epitome of reclaiming your power. Welcome, Emma, to the show. Hello, Emma.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, girl. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm really, really good. Just back from holiday, so just kind of getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah, holiday looks good on you. You've got a good glow and you're in the neon. It's a
Trying to
vibe.
be bright.
Yeah, well, me too. I have you can't really see it through the camera, but highlighter.
I normally go bright, and these are like spangly ones, but I'm normally a bright orange or a bright pink.
Yes.
Yeah,
it looks good. Before we get into conversation, I'm going to ask you my favorite question, which is, what are you currently reclaiming?
Oof.
Oh,
Yes. I'm currently reclaiming the anything is possible era, really coming in on that, and playing in the energy of just fun and just no limitations, no conditions, just following my heart and my intuition.
I love that. And it feels it's like that childlike magic, right? When we were young and we did believe that anything was possible. We believed in fairy tales, we believed in magic, and it's not surprising to me that that's there for you, because I know that inner child work is really important to you. It's a big piece of your work.
Yeah, huge. And I just think we just get like, I'm not a serious person. I mean, the work that I do can sometimes feel really serious, but me generally, I'm not a serious person, and I feel like I lost a big part of that actually, and felt I had to be a bit more serious in order to be taken seriously. And actually now I'm just enjoying the no rules, the no limitations, and just playing around with stuff. And I've given myself that permission to do that now, and it just feels really free.
Yeah. Can I ask you, how the hell did you get there? What is the 10-step process to share with the audience?
Oh my God. Well, it's a work in progress. Let's just say that. I don't know. I say I've probably in the last year really been consciously working on it. For me, I've had a bit of a roller coaster adult life, I suppose. So in my early adulthood, I suffered serious sexual and physical abuse. And so that kind of took me on a different journey and away from my true core, and kind of led me down a path of self-loathing and diluting and filtering various different parts of me. And then I kind of felt I had this conflict, because I've always been very much a rebel, hated being told what to do. I'm really crap at being told what to do. I just feel like sometimes like a caged animal if I'm told to do something, and I physically retract. And I do like being center of attention, but when you're battling through all the aftermath of everything that's going on, you want to, consciously I was wanting to be really visible. Subconsciously I was wanting to keep myself hidden and safe. And that's only really kind of come through in the last 6 months of like this whole safety thing. I didn't realize just how much it was playing on in my life and in the way in which I've shown up. But definitely I'd say in the last 18 months, my dad keeps diaries, or kept diaries, of me and my sister when we were younger. And I was really sporty and very successful. And I don't know why, but I suddenly was reading this diary at his house, and I was like, I don't recognize this girl anymore. Like, I used to be really, I'd bet on myself, I'd never lose. I was so competitive. I believed in myself. I didn't take no for an answer. I just went above and beyond. And I was like, where's she gone? Like, this industry had really worn me down. I'm not one to follow the shoulds and the rules, and I was, and it was going against every part of who I was. And so that was a real wake up call. It was like, bloody hell, I'm not her and I miss her. And so I've really been working on pulling that back and tapping back into that, and really just letting go of the rules, like giving myself that permission to just be me and to try, because it's sometimes really hard to not give a shit about what other people think, but to really own who I am and to find that audacious part of me again.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like too, with what you just said, that owning that part of you and like really not caring about what other people think and the rules, I'm not sure that's even possible if we don't have a solid knowing of who we are, right? If
Mm,
we allow ourselves to get so wrapped up in what the stories are and what other people think and what they think we should be doing, and we don't actually have that like anchoredness in ourself,
mm,
that might even feel impossible. So
yeah.
I love that. And when I think about reclaiming, like, because the podcast is all about reclaiming your power, that's it. It's like knowing who you are and what you stand for and what you believe in and what you're here for and what you're absolutely not.
Mm.
It's, yeah. So I
I
really I
think,
really relate to that.
yeah, it's really tricky, isn't it? Because there's knowing and there's knowing. And it's like
Yes.
you can get really frustrated because you know
Hmm.
what you should be doing, or you know
Hmm.
how life works, and I know that I create my rules. I know that every desire I have is sent to me at the right time because I'm in a position to handle the journey to get
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
And that all the lessons, all the obstacles that come are linked with me achieving my desires. But there are human elements where you're like, well, I know this, but then it's like, oh my god, this just feels really hard. And it's like really embodying it and really consciously stepping out of the distraction and being like, do you know what? No, I know it and I am embodying it and I'm the
Hmm.
evidence of it. And I think
Hmm.
that's where you get the 5 to 1% that
Yeah.
really do that, whereas the others just play
Yeah.
on the edges of dabbling in it when they feel really strong and really embodying it, and then dipping out when things feel tricky and hard, and that inconsistency just pulls you back. So
To- Totally. I was going to
mm,
say it, and I'm glad you said it. It's the embodiment of it. I was talking to my partner about this yesterday. It's like, we were specifically talking about psychedelic journeys and, ayahuasca ceremonies, and
mm,
I'm all for plant medicine. I think it's amazing. And it's like, okay, well, you go to the ayahuasca ceremony, or you have the breathwork journey, or you read the book, or you sit with a medicine person,
mm,
and you're like, that makes so much sense. Okay, now I know that. Just like you say, you read a book and you're like, I know all about XYZ. And then what are you going to do with that information? Because you can know it, like you just said, logically. In my brain, I
mm,
know that. And if you're not taking the next step, which is the hard part, it's like 80% of it is integrating and embodying that new information now into your existence.
mm,
And you're exactly right. Like, it's such a small percentage of people that stick it out and do it because it's fucking hard.
yeah,
That's why it's called the work, like
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
not easy. You have to be so committed to the why of why you're doing it. You
yeah.
have to be so committed to that. And that is power. That to me is like, oof, that's radical self-love. It's power. It's beautiful.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm, it is.
Thank.
And I think because it is the work, and it's not just do it once and it's done. It's like
Hmm.
it's daily work.
Hmm.
And then while you can get support, and I've had years of support, ultimately it's down to me to do
Hmm.
the work as well. And I think people aren't always equipped to do that, and they want to hide behind the strategy and hide behind the step process and this,
Hmm.
that, and the other, because it's easier to do that because then you've got like something to hide behind, and to want of a better word, to blame if it doesn't quite go according to plan, and it takes the
Mm-hmm.
pressure off you. And that's why it is a challenge, but it's the most beautiful rebirth and like liberating experience ever. And
Mm-hmm.
it's one journey that I will always be on, because I think when I look back to where I was years ago, like right in the, well, not right in the aftermath, because right in the aftermath I was just in denial, and I just ran
Yeah.
away and went traveling and pretended it didn't happen. And
Mm-hmm.
then obviously it just hit me like a ton of bricks, and it's like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to break down to rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
um and then there are little fragments that keep coming through, and it's like not feeling like it's not working. It's like, okay, I'm at this level now where I've reached the level I need to be to release this part, because I'm elevating and growing and expanding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wanted to talk a little bit about your journey to trusting your intuition, because I feel like, I mean, I have a lot of conversations with women. I myself have a journey with my intuition. What does that journey look like for you? Like when you look back, when you're reading those journals, did she trust her? It sounds
Yeah.
like she really trusted herself. It sounds like she was like on board with that inner knowing.
Mm,
And so tell me a little bit about the journey of maybe it came and then it went,
mm,
and how did you get back into trusting yourself after,
yeah.
whether it was after the trauma or maybe it was even before that.
um it's been an ongoing process, I'm not gonna lie. It's probably been the hardest piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
um I'm a very intuitive person, really intuitive, and when I'm on it, I know.
Mm-hmm.
And I always know, but it's like sometimes I'm not wanting to necessarily do what I know to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always, up until probably my early 20s, I always trusted in myself, always led myself really powerfully, really, and didn't let a lot knock me. I think the biggest exposure to the leak that was like coming around my intuition was when I became an entrepreneur and suddenly got into business, and it was like, wow, actually I thought had healed, and I'd healed a lot, but it exposed a whole new level to me, and there
Mm-hmm.
was no hiding. um and again, in my first couple of years, I really just naively or intuitively did what I wanted to do, and it really worked. And then the noise of, there's just too much information, the
Mm-hmm.
noise just kept coming in, and it's like, the because you know, you're having fun and you're doing what you're doing and it's working. It's like, oh, let's, how do I build on that? And it's then hearing all of the shoulds, and you've got to grow your audience to this level. You can only charge if you're at this level. You've got to launch like this. You've got to have ads like that. And it was like, oh my god, this all just feels really heavy.
Yeah.
But there was just so much evidence to support doing that. And I
Yeah.
remember spending hours upon hours finding my niche and sorting that out. And I'm like, oh God. And it just made my heart sink every time, because I was like, I don't want to be put in a box. Why am I trying to put myself in a box to please people, to have your elevator, your pitch and all that sort of crap? And it all just got too consuming.
Mm-hmm.
And I started doubting myself more than ever, and so the results started to mirror that. Um,
Right.
and it was very intermittent and inconsistent, and I would hold my power when things were good and let go of it when things weren't, and you know, those typical patterns. And it wasn't until I stepped away from the traditional mentors and coaches and found my people that I actually was like, oh my God, there is a whole
Mm-hmm.
nother world out here, thank God. And this is where I need to be. And I don't belong over there. And it was literally the best thing ever. It was the
Yeah.
best thing ever. I suddenly, having spent a lot of my lifetime being quite misunderstood, judged a lot, um, for various different reasons. And I've always felt different, and in a good way, but it was always perceived in a bad way by others. To suddenly just see all these women doing things the way they wanted to do it, I was like, oh, fucking, oh my God, this is just, why didn't I find this earlier was my initial thought. But obviously everything happens for a reason. But it was like, wow, thank God for that. Because I was on the edge of like, I'm
Yeah.
bored, I'm drained, I don't enjoy this anymore. This isn't what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I
Do I even want to
felt
do
like I was
this?
hitting my head against a brick wall, and I was like, this is just not what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then realised that I didn't have to.
I don't have to do it that way.
No.
I can do what I want. I'm a grown woman.
Yeah.
Um, is there, I'm wondering if you have any like tangible ways that women can get back into that process of trusting themselves, right? Because I think when we think about trusting our intuition or listening to our intuition, for some that can feel really distant and really like, I don't even know where to begin. So, what
Mm,
are some, if you have any on the top of your mind, like easy,
mm,
tangible, do this, like start this practice of trusting yourself again?
yeah.
Any anything there?
I do a lot of meditation. I
Mm-hmm.
do a lot of energy cleanses, activations. I've got such an overactive mind that I struggle to. I mean, I'm a trained hypnotherapist, but I remember rebelling against hypnotherapy when I started because I was like, I just don't relax. I'm not good at relaxing, and I really didn't want to enjoy it. And actually, I really did. But
Mm-hmm.
I struggled because of the control thing. Now I meditate twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cutting cords. I just reframed so much, really, in the fact that while I am radically responsible for it, for my journey, I'm not alone. Like I speak to the universe all the time. It's like
Mm-hmm.
just open that dialogue of like, just talk to me, just tell me what to do, just
Yeah.
becoming a bit more of an observer of the guidance or the coincidences in inverted commas that were coming through, and also just looking back at times when in my gut I knew I should do something and I did and it worked really well, versus when I didn't and it didn't. And I'm very
Mm-hmm.
much, I can feel it in my body, so my tummy would flip if it was
Okay.
go do it, and I would fully retract and just feel like the child in me was stamping my feet, going, I just don't want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And hating every minute of doing it and doing it because I felt I should. And
Mm-hmm.
so I really kind of tapped into listening to those two pieces, but quieting my mind and eliminating the distractions. Like
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of people that were distracting me, so I detoxed them. Um, I started listening to me rather than searching for the answers outside. So I really got clear on, I call it the mind shit, but I got really
Mm-hmm.
clear on what my mind shit was telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and instead of seeing it as a blocker, I saw it as actually this is my stepping stone. If I can sort this out, then I can move
Mm-hmm.
to where I want to go. And just
Mm-hmm.
started being a lot more compassionate to myself.
Yeah.
So I have a morning routine that is a non-negotiable. I've got an 8-year-old son, and he's always known that mummy exercises. That no matter what, like in the morning, I'll exercise. I have my AirPods in, listening to a training or a podcast or something to fuel
Mm-hmm.
my mind and my body. Every morning, I do a card pull. I do some tapping. Um, and I really center myself. Like even on holiday, while I didn't do the full one, I was exercising by the pool every morning, and everyone just left me to it.
Mm-hmm.
I do cord cutting, so I do just try and keep my energy as light and as neutral as possible, so I'm not spiking through fear.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing my triggers, like knowing my triggers, was massive.
Yeah. That's awesome. And all of that, like that knowing your triggers, that comes back to you really, really knowing who you are, like
Mm,
through and through.
mm,
And I believe that that comes with the dedicated time that you have just with you, you and you. And I think a lot of the reasons so many people feel we get to that place where we're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know. Right. That's
Mm,
the I don't know. And that to me is when we are so distracted. We're so overfilled with everyone else's shit, with media, with social media, with family, with other people's stuff.
mm,
And for whatever reason, there's many reasons we allow that to happen. And there's so much power in that cleansing. Like you use the word detox. I detoxed them. I got rid of that
mm,
and quieting the noise and
mm.
just being with you. And it's interesting, like you say that, and it's like that's really actually quite simple. It doesn't have to be this really hard, massive, elaborate thing. It's like quite the opposite, actually. Like, can we
Yeah,
simplify, get rid of the noise, hang out in silence, do your practice,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. There's so much. I mean, I struggle to relax, and I also have that belief, you got to work hard to be successful, and
Mm-hmm.
so I was a natural hustler, and so to simplify things was really like alien to me. It was
Yeah.
like more, but now if things feel easy to me, I'm like, this is my green light. Whereas before, if things
Yes.
were um too easy, I wouldn't see the value in it. I'd just be like, oh, well, that's
Right.
obviously wrong. I've got to work on the thing that feels really hard. And it's like, no, it's easy because that's what I'm meant to be doing.
That's so powerful.
Mm,
Yeah, I facilitate breath work, and that's often a thing that I say is like it gets to be easy. Like
mm,
it gets to be easy. We're so connected to, yeah, it has to be hard, and I think it
mm.
comes around that word success, right? To be successful, you have to work really hard. You have to grind for years and years and years. So
Yeah, to
interesting.
prove to everyone that you deserve to
Yeah,
have what you want. Yeah.
totally. Can you define? This is just. Can you define success? What is success to you now?
It's actually quite simple. Like before, it used to be all this materialistic stuff, but to be honest, it's just so we had quite a hard journey getting my son. I've got one child, but our whole fertility journey took 10 years. Um, I had a miscarriage, and then 3.5 years of first starting, trying. I fell with Max, had Max, and then had two more miscarriages after that.
Mm,
And I wouldn't change it now because it's made me the mum that I am. But it's just it brought everything back to me. It's like actually, while materialistic stuff, is great, and there's always something that we all want to have or whatever. It really just comes down to working my business around him and having quality time with my family. So success is really about him not missing out on the milestones with him, also building a legacy, and putting my past to good use, and for him to see what a strong leader I am, and change maker to others, um, and to just know that everything that I've gone through is for a reason, and it will then help other people. I think if I know that I'm changing just one person's life, that's success to me.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. You've used the word should a few times, and I'm curious if if you can share what some of the shoulds that your past self did that your current self is like, oh, babe, oh, babe, didn't have
Oh,
to do
so
that.
many. Um, I remember I don't like the whole runway challenge, open cart, closed cart way of launching.
Okay, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with it. It
Mhm,
works for a lot of people. It just doesn't work for me. And so I used to do that because I felt I should. I used to do it
mhm,
because that's what other people were doing. Or I used to do that because that's what I'd done in the past, so I should do it again.
mhm.
And I remember speaking to my coach at the time, and I was just about to go into launch, and I wanted to just do it on Instagram and not on Facebook. And just at the 11th hour, she was like, "Oh no, I think you should do it on Facebook because you've always done it on Facebook." And I again felt my whole body retract back,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, "Bloody hell, I better do it," because fear got in, and it was like, "Well, you've
Mhm.
done it before, so you should do it again." And every time I went live on Facebook, it chucked me out. It literally, there was tech issues that I had. Five-day challenge. It was live on Instagram and live on Facebook, and Facebook kept chucking me out, or the sound would go, or something, and it was like the universe going, "You didn't want to do it on Facebook, so why are you doing it on Facebook?" And it was like, I'm going to intervene, and so it ended up just all being on Instagram, which is ironic. But I just stopped trusting myself and started doing what I thought I should do because that's what others were doing, and therefore it would give me the results that they had, and just kind of got swept up with that whole fantasy of everything lies in the strategy, and if you just follow this tactic or this step-by-step process, then all your shit will turn to gold. And it's like, nah, there's so many layers to success and it's not spoken about enough. And it upsets me because I see a lot of people being kind of manipulated into thinking that you've got to spend thousands on the strategy, and all the while you just lose all aspects of who you are. And so I don't know if I've answered your question there, but a
Yeah.
lot of the shoulds were just lack of trust and just doing what everyone else was doing, hoping I would get the results.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. That answers the question. Can you, here we are like 30 minutes in, do you want to share with the people listening who don't already know you what you do, how you support people? What are you launching when you're launching these things on Facebook?
Yeah. So I call myself a mindset detox coach. So basically, I help unapologetic rebels remember who the fuck they are by stepping out of the good girl energy and into their truth. And so I do a lot of mindset detoxing, inner child work, regulating your nervous system, really like rebuilding that trust, and just simplifying success, because it's so can be so complicated. We make it so complicated. And so I have a rebel formula that's very much around remembering who you are, but quit editing your voice, stepping out of the box, really getting into that energy of anything is possible, and leading with courage. Like, it takes balls to go against the opinions of so many people, and it can feel very vulnerable and very hard and very lonely. And so it's like creating that solid foundation within them where they don't need the validation from other people because they have it within themselves.
Yeah.
And so I've got a membership called Unapologetic Rebels. We deep dive into all of the total mindset, detoxing, um, and that's something that is really on my heart to grow a lot more. I just really have this pull to build this safe haven, for rebel women to just come in and be completely raw and stripped back and not give a fuck, and be fully supported by other people who just get the fact that they're beautifully abnormal.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I love that so much. I love the word rebel. I love the energy behind it. I love that you're
Mm.
talking about like fuck the good girl,
Yeah.
hat, whatever, full body
Mm.
mask that we wear. When did that become a thing for you? When were you like, I don't, that's not my role.
What, getting rid of the good girl
The
energy?
good girl.
I think it's happened all my life. Like,
Yeah,
um, so I've always rebelled against being told what to do. Always like
love
to,
that.
yeah, always like to prove people wrong. And if someone says I can't, I'll do it. And um, even just like cooking, I can't follow a recipe because I have to add my spin on it. It's like, no, let's just add a little bit of this in and see what happens. Um, and it's really ridiculous because like I'm so super close to my sister, and yet she's head of compliance very high up in corporate and all systems and rules, and then you've got me over here who just likes to break the rules all the time and just can't be told what to do. And we couldn't be more different. It's crazy, but I think it's always been there. I just think that there have been moments in time where I've let the external dilute who I am. And I needed to, obviously, to learn where I am and be where I am now, and to appreciate that. But I think too many women dilute themselves and put on masks. Um, and I think that I was telling myself that I just, for the first time ever, really, that I wasn't good enough just being me. Like, I had to be a bit more serious, or talk a certain language, or speak in a certain way, and it's just bullshit. But it's like, it's the tricks that we tell ourselves when we're doing something new, and it's like you're surrounded by other people's success and you've not necessarily experienced it at the start, and so you're like swept into their journey, and it's how much you hold on to that versus holding on to you.
Yeah. It feels like a really very common and actually quite an organic journey that we go on as women. It's like we come into this world as these innocent, open, curious, believing in magic, like we talked about in the beginning, these little girls who are just like anything's possible and, pixie dust everywhere and it's all perfect. And
Mm,
then we become teenagers, and then there's, oh gosh, a whole lot of pressure and judgment and expectation. And then we become, these young women who are in a pretty challenging society to
mm,
be free spirit and to be rebels. Cause like, you know, let's talk. I mean, we don't need to go into that rabbit hole, but like the system has been against this for a long time. And I think it takes us, like, I don't know how old you are, but I feel like we're close to the same age. It's like I'm seeing this rise of women in this like late 30s to like 50s where they're like, fuck this.
mm,
No more. And I trust that journey. I actually think that it's perfectly placed. And I don't know. I know there are some women who stay in that rebellious streak their whole life, and bless their hearts for having the strength to be there the whole time and
mm,
really pave the way. But I really do trust this arc. And I don't know if you agree with that, that we start a bit different kind of rebellious, but we start there, we dip out of it, and then we come to this stage in our life where we're like, nah, no,
yeah.
no more. And it's quite fun. Like here we are, and there's this collective of women being like,
Mm,
oh, let's do this again. And
mm,
it's fiery and powerful and kind of fun. I'm having a
it
little bit of
is.
fun with it. You too?
Yeah, 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 definitely. I totally agree. I mean, I'm 46, and I just think, yeah, it's you have to go through certain dips, don't you, in order
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to learn what you need to learn to then come out the other side. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think I wouldn't necessarily fully embrace my rebel side had it been really easy as well. And
Right.
so it's given me that hunger back, but also just, I don't know, I think as well around my sort of age, there's a lot of changes that go on hormonally and all of that. And so
Mm-hmm.
you're having to get to know yourself on a different level again. And it's
Right.
like, fuck this. Like, why am I mean, just recently, there's been a toxic situation that we've been in for almost 7 months, and it's just draining. And I remember saying it was all linked to playground politics with
Mm.
like school kids' parents, and it's like I just can't be done doing with this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is
Mm-hmm.
just, and I think, every season is there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And me shedding this particular toxic situation has led to a big breakthrough in my business. And it's like,
Right.
there's no coincidence in that. It's like, if you're linked with so much toxic stuff, then you don't have the space. But equally,
Mm-hmm.
I've needed to go through all of that to gather the wisdom to then take me to where I want to go and others to follow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about, because I know, again, we talked about this really briefly, but inner child work is such a big part of the work I know that you do with your clients. When did that start for you? What was your first like introduction to that work, and how has it benefited you? How has it helped
Oh
you?
my, oh my God, it saved my life.
Okay.
Yeah, it's at first, when I first started this business, I got certified in NLP, hypnotherapy, life and business coaching, and really went against the hypno because I didn't want to feel out of control because of my past.
Yeah.
But after just one session, just felt totally different. And then I did advanced training, and one of the techniques that really hit home to me was all on inner child healing, and it's the most powerful, insane experience ever, getting to the root cause, because too many people paper over the cracks and they do surface level healing, and the reality is that just doesn't work. Like, it's gonna filter out in obvious and really unobvious ways, and it will all be linked with your triggers. So my triggers are always linked with being taken advantage of, or made to do something I don't want to do, or feeling out of control. And so on the surface it won't look like that, but I will know that it's triggering those things. And so I've been doing it for 13 years now. And some of the sessions have just blown my mind and totally changed people's lives. I mean, as I said, I genuinely think it saved mine, because I just wasn't in a good place, and it was just that we hold on to so much, and there's so many significant periods that imprint on you, and I think it's so important to just show compassion and heal at that root cause, to set yourself free, in the most sustainable, like, empowering and nurturing and compassionate way. It's just, it's my favorite thing. I think everyone needs to go through it. And actually, it's for me, because I didn't want to relive, and I think a lot of people think, oh God, I've got to relive. And the way in which that I do it is you don't necessarily relive it. And actually the experience is very calm and very nurtured and very loving, and so on and so forth. And it takes that, sometimes that brutal intensity and rawness out of it. It's like, I don't ever want anyone to relive anything that they don't want to, but we heal in a way that just allows them to feel safe and supported and held. And I think that can be a big misconception, is that people think, oh God, I've got to relive everything and tell you all and visualize it all again, and it's just not like that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with everything you just said. So is that a primary way that you work with your clients, is through hypno practices? Is that a big piece of your work?
Yeah, it's a real blend, to be honest. Like, at the start, it was primarily a lot of hypnotherapy. And then as I've evolved, it's evolved. And I blend so much, through techniques as well as deep conversations, journaling, energy cleanses, the whole, like, it's really bespoke, as you know. Like, everyone is different, and so I'm very intuitive with everyone that I work with. But yeah, there's always a theme of incorporating that kind of healing into my practice, because it's just so powerful. And then building from that, because people think, oh, I've done that, now let's just move. And it's like, no, you've got to rebuild from there. Like, it's not just a do it once and you're good to go. It's like, how do you want to rebuild? How do you want to feel safe? How do you want to regulate your nervous system? How do you want to expand your capacity to hold and to be seen, and all of that?
Yeah. You're doing good work. You're doing good work. Speaking of your work, so at the time of recording, it's not this time, but I think this will be September. So tell us a little bit about what's going on, if you know this far in advance, what you have offered.
So obviously I've got my membership, which I'm looking to grow. And then I really want to run some retreats and some in-person events. I'm not a visual person. It's weird. I've got a photographic memory, so I can visualize in that respect. But future visualizations I can't do. But I can with this. It's so strange. So this is why I know that I need to do it, because even when I do meditation or hypno or anything, a lot of it is words that come through. It's not a visual for me. But I can find myself daydreaming about the events I see me doing. I really want to. My big dream is to be paid to interview people. I love interviewing people. I want to have my own show. I want to take my podcast on the road and do live lounges and just have intimate events where women come together and it's a really nice event and they're made to feel special and they listen to the interview and then they have Q&A sessions and to have events that have motivational speakers and just it be an experience rather than a conference. It's like it's this whole big thing. I'm a bit of a social connector, I suppose. Me and my husband are very socially connected. We host a lot of parties. I want to do retreats. He's a brilliant chef. Like I envisage that whole luxury and him doing all of the food and bringing it all together and it just feeling really, really exclusive, really luxurious and really transformational.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yes. I love retreats. I've been hosting retreats for quite a few years and that they're so special.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
good. What a fun opportunity for you and your hubby to create together
I
something so
know.
special. Yeah.
I know. I would never normally say because he's in sales, but he does a lot of training and stuff, and we talk about that all the time. But I'm like, oh, not sure I want to mix business with pleasure. But yeah, when it comes to the retreats and stuff, I don't know. That I see it, but this is where I still hold back a smidge because I'm like, I can visualize it, I can talk about it, and then it's like going for it.
Oh, okay. This is fun. Well, I'm gonna privately message you and poke at that bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, the all of it, whether it's like a multi-day retreat or just this beautiful event that you're describing.
Mm, mm.
Do you think you would just do that in the UK? Do you see
No,
that
I'd love
going?
to. I'd love to do it abroad. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think there aren't. I mean, maybe there are, but I mean, where I live, it's stunning. It's right down by the beach. Um, there's some really exclusive houses down where we are in a place called Sandbanks, which is quite famous in the UK. And it's such a beautiful area that would attract a lot of people here. But also, I just think there is something luxurious about going abroad and just taking yourself out of your environment and just stepping into this vortex of beautifulness and healing and like-minded people. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's funny talking to you. I'm like, you are abroad. Like,
yeah,
you're abroad. But I guess
yeah,
I'm abroad to you. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Where do
Leaving
you
your
do yours then?
Oh, well, I started doing them in Bali. That was my
Uh,
first location, which was so special. And that was back when I was teaching yoga and fitness. So they were yoga and fitness retreats, which was a blast. And now I no longer am in the fitness industry and I don't really teach yoga, although I do bring yoga into every retreat that I do. So I started it in Bali. I had a couple set for Greece in 2020, but those obviously got canceled. And still planning that. Costa Rica, Mexico, and then my partner and I are hosting a retreat in Croatia in May of next year.
oh,
We just decided this 2 days ago. So
oh,
I'm
wow.
I'm deep in planning and rental mode. Yeah, I
Mm.
generally what I do is I'm like, where do I want to visit? And let's host a retreat there.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's the best thing to do. It's like, where do I want to go? And I'm going to plan an event there. So if you want to go to
Mm.
New York, you're like, great, I'm going to go to New York and I'm going to plan an event. Or I
Yeah.
want to go to, Montreal, or I want to go to Tahiti. Great.
Love that.
Plan an event.
Yeah. I mean, that's pure freedom, isn't it?
Right?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? Why not?
Mm. Mm.
Worst case scenario, you get a trip out of it and nobody comes,
Yeah.
which hasn't happened. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Tell the people where's the best place to find you? How do we stay in your world, stay up to date so we can see the event dates coming?
Yeah. So primarily on Instagram. I mean, I'm on all the usual, but Instagram is just my name. And the same for Facebook. And then I have an Unapologetic Rebels community that's free on
Mm-hmm.
Facebook. And then obviously my membership, which you can find on my website. Everything is just under my name.
Okay.
So yeah, so pretty easy to find. But yeah, I've obviously now declared these retreats that are
Mm-hmm.
happening.
Yeah, they're happening.
They are
Heard it
happening.
here first.
Yeah. And do you know what? It's really weird because I won an experience with my mentor, and I and it was right in the thick of this fallout of stuff that was going on here, and I was in a really toxic situation. And so I initially was quite annoyed with I wasn't in the headspace that I wanted to be in.
Yeah.
She was asking me questions and I was answering them not the way that I thought I was going to. And then when you said that, I was like, why am I suddenly now speaking about retreats? And that's what I spoke to her about. It's like, because that's my truth. That's my truth. It's just
Mm-hmm.
it's scary. So I will like
Mm-hmm.
it's very easy to then go, no, I don't want to do retreats. I want to do programs and I want to do
Mm-hmm.
masterminds, which is what everyone else is doing. And it's like, no,
Right.
I want to do this. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do
Yes. Okay,
it.
well, I will keep my eyes peeled. I would come. I will come.
Thank you.
I would be in your space happily.
Love that. Love that.
Mhm. Yeah. Is there anything else I want to ask? Is there anything else you feel to share? Anything that's like ding ding right there that you want to speak out?
I don't know. I mean, I think for me, the biggest message that I ever would give people is just to trust yourself and to just step away from the distractions and the bad advice. Find your
Mhm.
people, but more
Mhm.
importantly, just find yourself. Like,
Mhm.
be open to having that inward conversation because the answers are within us. It's just that we get in our own way,
Yes.
and we need to.
Yes.
The only way to get out of our own way is to listen to ourselves and not to other people.
Right. Exclamation mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. Hmm.
Cool. No,
So we'll make sure.
it's been
Sorry.
lovely. It's been lovely
Yeah,
chatting to you.
it has been lovely. I'm going to make sure that all of your info is linked in the show notes. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll get that over and just thank you. That was really
Yeah, and
sweet.
between now and September, I've got to set some dates for for my
Right?
retreats so I can share them with you when it goes live.
Hmm. I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll go in there. All right, beauties, thank you so much for listening. If you want to connect with either myself or Emma, you can find links to our Instagram in the show notes. Let us know that you listen. Let us know what you love. Send over any questions. We would love that. And of course, if you haven't already, please leave a rating and or review for the podcast. That helps a lot. Now, as a dedicated breathwork facilitator and somatic coach, I have witnessed the incredible transformation that occurs when women embrace their emotions, like really embrace their emotions, and men. But right now I'm working with women. And when we do that, we release what no longer serves. You know, we hear that all the time. Let go of what no longer serves. We get to do that through breathwork, through somatics. And now is the time. It is happening. Now is the time. And so I've created for you the toolkit built for a queen. This is so fun. This is a comprehensive virtual resource that I created specifically for women who seek to navigate life's challenges with grace, with strength, with self awareness, with a sense of anchoredness. The toolkit is designed to absolutely empower you with all of the skills to let go of your trapped emotions and to fully embody and radiate yourself, your highest, most queen like self. You can find the links to this in the show notes. What you'll also see down there is Breathe With Me. This is a 5-day free breathwork experience. If you and I have not breathed together, I urge you, I invite you to click that link, download that, it's free, and join me in the breathwork land. See you next time.